Hi, welcome back to High Tech Pole Floats. On this of the last tutorials of what I term the carp orientated floats, I've left it a bit late because I've had other things to do, but this video will be entirely based on shallow patterns. Of late, the jigger, or inlines as we used to call them donkeys years ago, obviously they've given another term. They used to be as small, I don't know whether you can see that, it used to be as small as that back in the day. Obviously I no longer make them. It's just far easier just to buy all the bits in and just glue everything together. So on this tutorial I'm going to look at three types of jiggers, probably which is the standard jigger, with his short with weighted at the bottom, which gives some water here to give you an idea. The reason it's weighted is because the sit and the line just goes straight through, jig up and down, up and down. That's the idea. There's also, that was popular when I was doing these, was a rounded diamond profile, exactly the same but with a slightly longer stem, which gave you a bit of more stability in the water when you've got a bit of surface movement. Principle exactly the same. The float sits and the line goes through the middle, but the float itself is not used as a general float. It is basically just a fire bait at, or just to hold in a position to let the line go up and down. The other one, which is not so popular these days, is used to put a stop on the top and just used to put the float in. Obviously that lies on the top, and when everything's settled it will draw it in, and the stop would then cock the float, and then if you hadn't had a bite, all you did then, you lift it up, and obviously your line, the float would go to whichever the weight was, and when you dropped it in the water the float would lie in until it hit again, and you just use the elastic basically as to read your bites. If you want to say elastic comes out, it's fish on, job done. The others as well I thought I'd look at to make, because they're all bog standard, simple to do. What we used to call the Lollipop a long time ago. No side eyes, just probably 2 inches, bit of glass, double sleeved, and just sit in the water as such. And obviously the bigger the bait, i.e. fishing, I don't know, 8mm pellet, just makes the float sit, so it goes in and sits. That's another one. Although I haven't got any of these, I've knocked this one up and I'll just show you how we go through them. It's the old P float, which would obviously the wire would be that short, but I've left it like that because they're obviously easier to paint if they're in that process. So I'll start with the easiest ones first. Lollipop. I'm going to use all of the float companies for these, although when I used to do them and flog them, I used to use finesse floats for assembling them. There's also patterns from the Float Studio. I've got some a bit dusty, these are. Similar sort of profile, but if you've got no float making equipment, because the foam is very, very hard, the drilling capabilities is very difficult without the right equipment on those, whereas these you can almost twist through, which I'll explain later. So I'll start with the easiest of easiest, what we used to call the Lollipop. So that would actually be a 1 gram body, just a rugby ball body. So these are all 0.2s, just to make it simple, dead simple. In fact, what I'll do, I'll put my goggles on because it's easier then. If you can see, just put it through. Me personally, I used to prefer using an 08. It feels like stiff, but that's because it's short. But the easiest way, you use a 0.1, it'll be self-cocking as well. So we'll get some glue out. That's clicked over. Let's get that over. That's better. Dead simple. Glue the end. I'm not going to do exact sizes here because it's everybody to their own. because this is 1 mil. Just give it a trim. That's what we used to call the lollipop. So give you an idea. That's 0.2. That would have been a 0.1. So that's one out of the way. Dead simple. Excuse me. Now the pea float. Probably not so used so much now, but self-cocking float used it for banded pellet, 8mm pellet, or a 6mm, and depending whether you put a 0.8 wire in or a 1mm wire, depending how far it's sat down for the bait you're using. 1mm wire, keep it long. That way, then they're easy to work with. I used to buy this in metre lengths. So put that away. It's got metre lengths, exactly the same principle again. They're all a 1mm ball, so it makes it nice and simple. In we go. Another done. So, and obviously then just paint it up. Obviously, me personally, I used to like these really short, and it was perfect if you can see the wire. Give it a clip. That's basically how short we would have had them. Just point them up. Really nice and clean. Put a side eye in. Obviously a heavy duty side eye, and once again, as you can see, let's bring that in so you can see that slightly tilts, but once the banded pellet are on, that would make it sit up perfect. So just a bag slapping job. That's another one out of the way. Now onto the jigger. The easiest way to make them is to have make yourself a tool, and the reason I said earlier about using the softer of the foams is because they're far easier to open the balls out. What I used to use is that's a 1.5mm hollow tip, and put a piece of 1mm glass, so it's a 1.5mm hollow tip with a 1mm bore, and I've got some more glass here. It's easier obviously if you point the ends up, because it will go through the guide. Yeah, 1mm tip. There you go. 1.5mm hollows. Just take it right to the end. Right all the way to the end. Obviously glue it in, and then you'd finish up with something like that. Trim it back to a sensible, and I'll explain why in a bit. So put that aside. So we've got that, which would create a bigger bore to get the 1.5mm through. So what I'll do, I'll have a cut here, and then I'll get my drill here, and we'll explain how we do it. Right, everything's set up. We'll get rid of that. So we'll go with these for a start. Just bog standard rugby balls. You see. So like I've said before, I've used from the float company. These are bog standard 0.2s, but ideally probably 0.3s would be better, methinks. But these should sit anyway. So we'll just take these, just make it a bit easier. So as I stated earlier, that was the 1mm glass through a 1.5mm hollow tip. That goes in the chuck. So you're looking for, basically, so we can get the hole through. Now the crack is then, because it's a 1mm, it's just going to go straight through. And the idea is Oh, you could sand that down a bit, but there's no need because we're going to paint over everything anyway. So just lightly, once it's gone, it retains its centre, although it doesn't really matter because we're not using it as a float. And just take it in very slowly, because remember that is plastic, and if you go like a bull at a gate, that would possibly melt. So just take it, there's no rush, and then we come through the other end, and if you want it really nice and tidy, turn it round, and there we go again, and that's it. We've opened the ball from 1mm to 1.5mm. I'll stop this for a minute. So that's the rugby ball, which gives us that or that. The rounded diamond, same principle. If I've got any of those knocking about, let's have a look, see. Here we go. So 0.3, these ones are from Finesse, but there's lots of float makers that actually flog them now. Same principle again. Start it up. We're doing a good start. Offer it up. Nice, gently slowly does it into a start. Turn it round. Feed it back in. Everything's nice and tidy then. And it's retained its straightness, although it doesn't matter, as I've stated. Okay, that's it. So we've got those bored. I'll stop it here, and then we'll go back, and then we'll get them glued up, and I'll explain the painting and everything else.